Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our show with a selection of 30 retro photos. Appreciate our work by subscribing and commenting with your favorite photo. And don't forget, enjoy the show, and we're start. Shirley and Field spontaneous swimsuit photo on the beach 1966. Posture Queens, 1956. These three women had the best upright posture, which was reflected in the X-rays. Moonshine Makers at Work, 1926. U.S. Prohibition. A lumber truck is inspected because it contained alcohol hidden behind a stack of firewood. The manufacture of Titanic's anchor. The anchor was entrusted to Noah Hingley and Son in 1910, and the ship's owners also placed an order for 603 meters of chain. This spaceship is an invention from the 1950s. In fact, the device is not designed for flying into space, but for mowing lawns with maximum convenience. Italian studying the kilt of a Scottish soldier, shot in 1944 after the liberation of Rome. Women's clothing in Iran, 1973. A unique photo seems common, but such a thing is now punishable in Iran. Wearing the hijab has been mandatory for all women in Iran since the Islamic Revolution since 1979. Jessica St. George in a feminine photo shoot, 1967. On September 3, 1967, Sweden switched from left-hand to right-hand traffic. Needless to say, it didn't go quite smoothly, as this photo proves. Habits are hard to change. A stewardess is a dream job for many women. In 1959, SAS Airlines began to use an interesting but rather short form. This photo is full of emotion, showing World War II survivors seeing the Statue of Liberty for the first time in 1946 upon arriving in the United States. This photo was taken in London in 1900 and shows probably the smallest store in the world. It looks more like a storefront without a store behind it. The seal on the tomb of Tutankhamun, which was discovered on February 17, 1923. Scientists estimate that the tomb remained intact for 3,245 years. Pictured here is Sandra Brown, the first black woman in the Oakland Police Department to receive formal firearms training. She was a police officer from 1970 to 1977. This amazing story should also find a place in textbooks. The picture shows Salvador Dali, a 20th-century surrealist painter deeply passionate about his painting. This painting is called The Face of War, and the photograph was taken in 1941. The woman in this picture could not feed her 4 children, and she was expecting her 5th child. So the children were put up for sale. If sources are to be believed, she did sell them within 2 years. The girls in this photo are the first U.S. track and field athletes to grace the cover of Sports Illustrated 1960s. This photograph of Pablo Picasso as Sailor Popeye was taken by the famous photographer André Willer. Traditional underwater fishing in Hawaii was done in shallow water and at night. It may seem simple now, but in the 1940s fishermen had no lanterns to attract fish, so people had to make their own lamp. The U.S. Apollo 11 mission was the first manned mission to land on the moon on July 20, 1969. Neil Armstrong was the first man to set foot on the moon. This image was published in Life magazine in 1961 to give an idea of what NASA's race for space looked like at one time. The New York City authorities in 1967 took a rather successful step. They created the Swimmobile, a pool on wheels. It was transported by truck to different places around the city for kids to cool off. Since England is located on an island, it is very important to teach children to swim in a timely manner there. But in the 1920s, not every school had a swimming pool, so you had to be creative. This photo from the early 1900s shows workers cutting down huge sequoias in Northern California. Considering that people back then used only saws and axes, it is impressive to be able to fell these giant trees. When the water level of the Seine River rose to threatening levels in 1910, such scenes became a reality. The roads were flooded with cold water, making it impossible for people to even cross the street. Sophia Loren in a cute outfit during the filming of Two Nights with Cleopatra. This photo shows the aftermath of a snowstorm and how the snow just pelted the area, rising to unexpected levels. In 1966, a devastating snowstorm struck the United States. The Cub races were very popular in the 1940s in the United States. Moskvich for 27-car commercial, 1971 USSR. The bonus photo. Pat Sheehan, Miss October 1958. Ladies and gentlemen, here we are at the end of our show. I hope you are impressed. See you again.